We still got money in this check.
I'm ready. The time is now 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, August 16th, 2023, and we are here at the Piney Ridge Clubhouse located at 4801 Lakeside Club Boulevard for the Piney Ridge at Fort Myers Board of Directors meeting. The meeting is now called to order. Now let's stand and please stand together for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nobody said amen. I know.
Thank you. Eric, would you please call roll?
Michelle Camp,
Here.
Tom Trino,
Here.
Bob Tolles,
Here.
Bill England,
Here.
Bob Geisler, Ann Urban, and John Mallon are absent.
So we do not have a quorum.
We do, we have five.
No.
We're out of here.
Not off the hook that evening.
Was the meeting properly noted?
Yes,
Let's start tonight with our open forum where we allow residents to come up and speak for hopefully 4 minutes. Do we have anybody signed up tonight?
Carl, did you want to speak or no?
Go ahead, me.
Yeah. Is it yes or no that you wrote here?
No, I don't have anything to it.
Skip?
Yeah,
Skip Bupali?
I don't think your landscape is living up to expectation anymore.
And neither do we.
We all agree. That's it.
Bob, before we start, can I just say in John's absence, can we make sure everybody has their phones shut off, please?
Yes, I wasn't just showing you my new phone case. Silence them, please. Do we have a motion to either read or waive the reading of last month's meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Again. Wow, we have a record crowd in the clubhouse for an hot August night, so mainly because the air conditioning's turned down. At least that's what I was told. So welcome. Glad to see you all here. As you notice, we have a new receptionist slash secretary in the office, Sarah. Very lovely lady. If you haven't had the chance to meet her, come on down sometime and introduce yourself. Yes, the landscaping crew has not lived up to expectations at all. And I will tell you, I witnessed Eric 2 weeks ago driving around, jumping out of the truck, hollering at the owner, showing him around the problems. I will say that this past few days, they have made a big improvement, I suppose. They were out there trimming the shrubs. I typically don't look at that stuff until I started hearing from the people, and I'm not just riding around, but going over to Windsor Club Circle, taking the bypass, going to the different trash containers, coming up the sidewalk here, looking around the swimming pool. We have an unexcusable amount of wild weeds growing and thriving in here. So hopefully they are on that. I'm sure Eric has a little more to say about that because he was directly involved in that, along with an insurance update. I did, so we got a response from the adjuster that his process has been completed and moved on, and Eric will clarify that situation. Last Sunday, we had a party, well-planned, poor attendance. Would have been nice to see a lot more people here because it was put on pretty good. The one-man band that was here, he was playing stuff that the crowd that was here liked. So we need to do a better job in communicating those things. Let your neighbors know. Don't be bashful. Let's get this place filled up next time, like on Pine Ridge Picnic Day. Just coming up real quick. One subject that has been on my mind has been windows in the community and the bad situations that we've had with some windows leaking and so on. We've had a lot of requests for windows and storm shutters. If you haven't replaced your windows and you know of a neighbor that has, you should talk to them and see what the benefits that they're getting. If you're concerned about the climate, they do save energy. Hopefully your energy cost would go down. Your noise from outside would drastically be reduced. I don't know that storm shutters are the same defense as hurricane windows. I've never seen any of those take a shot back with a 2x4, for example. So if you're weighing out that, do your homework, do a lot of research. I know it's a big cost. I recently talked to Southwest Window, a local president, and I'm gonna try to get some numbers together for hopefully getting windows replaced on an individual basis at a greatly reduced cost. Or how about a fair price? That might be a better way of wording it. There's a wide swing in pricing from salesmen. And hey, they're salesmen and they're making a living. And in some cases, it's pretty good. I want to give you an update on the house. The last couple of days, the tile has proceeded to be installed. It's painted, the trim's done. It's had plumbing replaced. We did a lot of drywall repair. We've, so far to date, we've contracted power washing on the outside. As you all remember, the initial trash removal. plumbing, storm shutter repair, and now the tile is being installed. Outside of that, the work's been done by myself and some volunteers. Did they leave any contractors out of that? That's pretty much cover it? Pretty close. So it's moving along. I'm gonna get some pictures, put them on a thumb drive, and hopefully we'll be able to run that automatically on the TV here so that you can have a little bit of idea of what's going on. We're not inviting masses of traffic in there, so we're not having an open house at this time. Some residents have come over and it's been a good time and they've come in. So we're not barring the place. We have nothing to hide. We just don't need a big crowd right now. And I can't even go in there because they're doing tile and they'll be doing the grout over the next 2-3 days. And now we have a manager's report.
Hello, everybody. Everybody's smiling face out there. So as you guys know, Pamela and her family moved to Indiana over the last month. We're happy for them. They bought a house up there and they made it in time for Annabelle to start school for the first day of school. And it all worked out and they're happy. We're sad to lose her. Annabelle's going to 7th or 8th grade and she was going to kindergarten when Pamela started. So that gives you an idea. So she was part of the family and we're sad to see her go, but we wish her the best. And we have a new member of the family named Sarah, who most of you guys have probably all met so far. And she's doing very well, and hopefully we can just carry on where we left off and improve upon what we've been doing. To update you on the insurance claim. So, very happy to come in last week on the 9th. On the 9th of August, so 1 week ago, right around this time actually, 6 o'clock at night, our adjuster of claims examiner, Michael Stifel, Eric, my review of the report and estimate is complete. My manager is in the process of reviewing my recommendations. I have requested that he expedite this review since it has been so long. I apologize for the amount of time this has taken. My manager has let me know that he will review this report right away. I will let you know as soon as that review is complete and will provide you with the settlement letter as well as the repair estimate. Sincerely, Michael Stifel. And then he sent it to Laura Ambrose, our agent, saying, Laura, I just sent this to Eric. And I haven't heard anything back from him. Thank you. Please get back to me as soon as your manager is done. I haven't heard back anything yet. It's funny, but it's not funny because it's a real situation. So hopefully we can find something out. Heritage Insurance, it's like they're the official homeowners insurer of the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is nice that they can do that, but they can't get back to us. But I really shouldn't even put that on there. So tree trimming, we're doing a lot of tree trimming. Those guys have been doing a good job. We try to do that ahead of the hurricane season. When the meat of the season is coming up. Talk about that in a little bit. Landscapers, they're not doing a great job. You guys are right. And I'm not going to make excuses for them. They've brought in some extra trimming crews. It still hasn't really been up to what we need. There is a labor issue. If you notice, some of the landscapers that they have, some of the people they have working, I noticed some of them don't look like they're really working like they should be or could be, and they don't really look like the landscapers that we normally have. And it's due to the E-Verify employment immigration situation. They're having a much more difficult time getting the workers that they normally have. But it's still no excuse. They charge the same amount of money, so they need to be able to do the same amount of job. So we'll be on them about that, and if we need to look elsewhere, we will. Just the grass isn't always greener, literally, on the other side. So we want to be careful with that, and especially the way the economy has been. I don't know if we bid the job out where those bids would even come in, so it'd be interesting. But I think, at least from what I'm hearing, it's the same challenge all over the place, especially labor-wise. A lot of the workers who I guess wouldn't pass the E-Verify have taken off to Georgia and Illinois, different states like that, and that's a problem for roofing, the painting, the landscaping, all of that stuff. And you know, just be looking at people doing the work. They don't look at people that normally do the work. So.
Eric, excuse me, can you
Yeah.
just maybe explain for those who don't know about the E-Verify, because I know we're doing it in our office, and it's relatively new that you have to do it within X number of days of a person being hired.
Yeah, so they've had E-Verify in Florida for a long time, but it's been kind of optional, and you had the option of verifying it, you know, just by that it all looks okay. So right or right, you know, we follow the laws. We don't want anyone to break the law or be an illegal person that's working or living here, but they are really cracking down on that. There is some of that goes on, and they're really cracking down on that. And those people who fall into that category, a lot of them ran away and they moved to other states. And this is part of the DeSantis put this through with the legislation. And overall, philosophically, I think we all agree with it, or most people agree with it, but in practice, it does affect other things, and we're seeing that with the landscaping and with other things. With any labor type business is feeling it right now. And then apparently they're coming in and doing checks where they shut everything down and check everybody, and that is what they're really scared of. I haven't seen any of that happen yet, but it's interesting. It's enough to scare a lot of people away from Florida. We've done some gutter repairs this last month. We had to put a new motor on the pool pump at the pool. The bearings and the other one went. The new pool heater number 5 is finally installed. No, it's not doing the heating right now. We're actually cooling the water. We had the heaters off. We got up to I think 93 or 94 degrees. Put it back on. It's back down to 87 for you guys. Power washed the pool deck. I think we finally got all the roof leaks repaired. The light poles should be starting any day. We've got everything here. We walked the job. If you notice, there's little reflectors where all the different poles are going to go. And you'll see that in here. There's going to be a lot of big machines, cranes, big trucks, that type of thing when they are working. So be careful if you're driving your car or riding a bike or anything like that around that stuff.
And they're gonna park.
And they're going to be parking in the same parking lot where the landscapers park. We'll have some trailers and trucks and big heavy concrete light poles. They weigh about 2,000 pounds each, so be very careful.
So please don't park there. It's gonna be a huge trailer.
Yeah, leave that area open. We're working on replacing solar lights at the dumpsters and the mailboxes, starting with the ones that don't work. And the other ones that are older, we'll just change those out also. We've had a couple sewer backups over the last month and a half. We need to ask everyone to be real careful when they put down their kitchen sink, especially those of you in the condos in the multi-story. Any type of oil or grease or anything like that, especially, do not put down the kitchen sink. What that's doing is causing the main drain line to clog and causing backups into the condos on the first floor. And they snake it out, and what they find is all full of grease. So please, 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 no bacon grease or oil if you fry something, none of that stuff. Do not pour it down the sink.
Potato peelings are real bad too. Put a mass of those down, they sit in there like wet sand.
Our front gate surveillance system, the video receiver, is, went bad, should be under warranty, so that's gonna be replaced. And, just wanna get everybody ready for hurricane season. Hurricane season's been for a couple of months, but this next month and a half is the real time that, normally we see a lot of activity, a lot of hurricanes. The heat has been unbelievable. Every day is hotter than the next. Not to make excuses for the landscapers, but they're probably tired by the afternoon in this heat, now that I think of it. But yeah, the warm waters are what caused the hurricanes, so if we keep breaking records every day we want to be real hopeful that nothing comes at us. We want everybody to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. Make sure you have everything you're going to need ahead of a storm: batteries, water, that type of thing. We brought in a bunch of bottled water just in case it happens, so we'll have bottled water, but still have your own. And yeah, Hurricane Ian was September 28th of last year, so can even go into the first week or two of October. We've got about 2 more months, and if we get through these 2 months, then we won't have a hurricane until next year. So that's all for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Bill, you have a treasurer's report.
No, we don't have any money.
Okay, that's, sums that up.
Short report.
Just kidding. Just kidding. What he meant was we didn't win that, to $1.4 billion.
Yeah, that would have helped the treasury. It helped somebody else that's on the other coast. Okay then. Treasury remains stable, except for the first monthly payment of our property insurance premium. We have no major expenses that were not anticipated this past month. The property insurance payment is $64,000 per month, 11 months. We took the loan, and that's what the payment is to pay the insurance. As you know, the increased insurance premium is a major obstacle for the Treasury. And based on the preliminary numbers for the 2024 budget, will be the primary reason the assessments for 2024 increased by an amount greater than past years. The association has hired Stone Building Solutions to perform a new reserve study for our community. Once completed, we will know where our current reserve funds stand related to the inflationary environment that we have been in over the past couple of years. And which we're hoping that'll be done within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you'd say, something like that. So we'll know by next meeting, we'll have a little better handle on it, and we'll see on that. Once we receive the reserve study, we will schedule some meetings with our budget committee to review the numbers, and then to finalize the budget that will be proposed to the board and sent to the association members. If all goes accordingly to our schedule, we will have these meetings over the next 6 to 8 weeks and have a completed budget by the second week of October. The July 2023 balance sheet and income statements was available and is available at the front of the room up there. And when you come in tonight, please contact Eric or I if you have any questions. And just a little addition onto that, on our balance sheet, we had 16 owners in arrears. We have 5 owners who are at the attorney's for collections. This is up from 4 last meeting. 10 owners in the collection process, which it was 7 last time, and 1 owner who owes a small amount, which was 5 the last time. So we went down 4 on that number anyway. The income statement, we had some repairs on the entry gate. We had to repair the gearbox and replace the barrier arm and the general repairs on phase 2 and phase 3 to repair a leaking roof and some storm damage to replace some street lights, which is very related to there on the addition of the holes that will be in here to start replacing the lights. And that's all I have, unless you got, anybody got questions?
I have a question.
No.
So the items that are, when there's somebody in arrears and everything, you said we had 16 that were in arrears. Is that what comes up to this number that says allowance for doubtful accounts in there, the 26,000? Is that where the fund, those amounts come from?
No, so we're gonna collect those amounts.
Huh?
We're gonna collect those amounts.
Okay, so just doubtful means in July, we may not. On the balance sheet, under operating, there's a figure under accounts receivable, and it says allowance for doubtful accounts of 26,044.
Yeah, we have to ask about that. It's
Yeah.
the way they have to do it, because it's in parentheses. So-
Right.
So, yeah.
Right, so I know it's deducted, but then interfund receivable, can anybody explain what that is? I'm just curious.
I think,
Is that,
it's kind of 1, 2, 2A, and 3 combined.
okay. All right, just trying to get clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Bob, would you like to address the community on any issues? I know you don't want me to say you're in charge of landscape.
Nothing to report right at the moment.
Thank you. Tom, do you have a report or anything for the community?
Sure. As far as the website's concerned, we continue to add features over time. Our new gal, let me just compliment Eric on a good hire. I think she's awesome. She's very personable. If any of you have met her, you found that out. She seems really sharp and is going to fill in very well for Pamela. She seems to be catching on quickly. I don't know so much about the day-to-day, but as far as I'm concerned. She's handling a number of things on the website with us. We continue to make progress on the number of folks on the directory. I don't know if any of you or you folks at home have looked at the directory. We've currently got over 420 people finally on the directory. It's taken some time and effort by phone and email and other means to get folks signed up. Last month, I think we had 209, and if I'm correct, today we've got 429. So we're almost there. There's only 464 total. Although there are some duplicates, we have folks who both husband and wife are listed and so forth. So we'll actually have more than that, 462. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention that makes me sleep easier at night. I'm sure we've all been watching this disaster in Hawaii. And I'll tell you, the first night I was watching it when it happened, I looked at my wife and I said, they weren't prepared. They were not prepared. This should not have happened to this extent. And I don't have a crystal ball or anything, but since we've learned their sirens never went off, these people got no notice of any impending danger. Half of their fire hydrants didn't work at all, and the other half were low on pressure. Their response teams were not in position or had the plans to do things. And that just happens with every government and every, whether it's a municipality or a state or whatever. And I really feel badly for those people. They've got still, from what I understand, over 1,000 people missing. And, you know, when you look at Hawaii, and I don't know how many of you are, but I've just always thought a wildfire in Hawaii, that just, to me, it's kind of a rainforest. How do you have a wildfire there? But it's like Florida. But it just makes me so appreciative that our local and state governments here are better prepared than what I saw the response there. And of course, we've had so many multiple hurricanes. Of course, that's to be expected. But one of the other disadvantages I thought about Hawaii, you know, here, 2 days after Irma, or Ian, there were convoys of trucks coming from Michigan and Minnesota and Wisconsin and New York and all across the country. These folks were coming down here, the linemen and the electricians and construction crews. They don't have that in Hawaii. There's, you know, the local guy isn't gonna load up his Bobcat in the back of his pickup truck and drive to Hawaii. That doesn't work. So they've got a long, long road ahead of them. My heart goes out to them. It just makes me more appreciative of some of the benefits we've got here. I know Ian, it's been terrible the last year to deal with the aftermath, but by many standards, we're pretty fortunate to live in a state that takes care of things. One more comment I brought up before, pay attention, and all you folks at home too, when you get back down here, to your water usage. You know, I notice myself, sometimes I let the water run when I'm brushing my teeth. That's stupid, and it's just minimal, but if we all did little things like that, you know, there's so many, if you've got a leak, you know, I've read some horrible numbers. If you've got a faucet dripping, it's thousands of gallons a year. And we pay for that. It's 20-some thousand a month is our water bill here. So just a reminder, if you've got a leak, find somebody to help fix it, or let Eric know, and maybe one of our guys can help out. Another comment on the garbage disposal. I've learned the hard way over my 50 years of home ownership. You know what goes down the garbage disposal? The stuff you just happen to rinse out your plates. And that should be it. Don't put potato peelings, carrot peelings, you know, melon peelings, onions, all of that stuff. You know, the thought is, oh, it went down, good. Well, you know, that sewer pipe is about a 2-inch diameter, and that stuff clogs up and gets caught up in there. Eggshells is another. I always thought eggshells, just throw it in there. I've had my drain here cleaned, and the guy pulled out massive amounts of eggshells, because once they're broken into little tiny pieces, they just catch on the goop that's in your sewer, on that grease, and stick, and it just builds up. So be careful. Throw it in the trash. You know, use your leftover paper towels to sop up that grease from the bacon. Throw it in the trash. Don't put it down the drain. Anyway, that's my little tidbit for sharing. Glad to see so many folks here in the summertime. It's just awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Tom. Michelle, you're blessed with no committee, but would you like to address the community on any issues?
Thank you. Just a couple of comments, and I wanted to kind of dovetail what you said about the water, because this has kind of been a thing with me. And I read something in the AARP magazine. I don't know, maybe you all saw it too. I think it was last month, talking about water and water usage in the different regions in the country and how much it costs and everything else. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is the thing that the highest percentage use of water that we have. Oh, I'm sorry. The highest percentage use of water for us is the toilet. I would not have thought that, but it is. It's a toilet. 24% of our water usage is with the toilet. So number one, a lot of people are doing remodeling. If you're going to remodel, get those low water tank things, you know, upgrade yourself a little bit for the sake of usage of water. 20% is the shower. And like you said, you know, you leave the water running when you're doing your teeth. You leave the water running when you take your shower. You just want to get it hot. I get it. But then get in, shower, and get out. You know, just think about the water usage, because it really does impact us. You know, some things in our budget we can't control, like the insurance. But there are a lot of things we can control, and the things we can control, we should be doing something about it. All of us. And this is going out to everybody who's watching on YouTube or anything else. And I really feel like there are some things I want to list that I'm going to put a flyer out, if it's okay with you guys, that will go in the dues, you know, the quarterly dues, just a flyer that lets everybody remember to kind of think about these things, because it really does impact us. We all have to put in our effort in order to hold expenses down. You can't complain to the board because the budget went up. It's not our fault they raised the insurance like that. You know, that's something's out of our control. But let's all do something that is within our control, and that is particularly the water. And the other thing I just asked Eric about, because I know when I owned a home, what water usage you had, it impacted your sewer as well. Because in the Fort Myers area at least, the idea was if you use water that was going through the sewer system, so your sewer bill went up when your water bill went up. So if we are overloading and doing a lot more usage of water, that means our sewer bill's going up too. And I know it's all combined. I don't know what the percentage is or anything, but let's just work at least towards that one thing. My goal is going to be to try and find other ways that we can all impact, you know, bringing some of our expenses down. But right now, I think if we can all get our mind wrapped around the water issue, try and bring that down a little bit. And when the seasonal people come down, really push it with them too. If we can just do it a month here and see the difference it makes, when the seasonal people come down, we can really push it and say, look, if you guys will jump on board with this, then we can have even a greater impact. So I did want to just kind of dovetail with that. The only other thing I have is that the reason that we were able to even get that condo was because somebody was really struggling. We're a community here. We always say Pine Ridge, the one thing about this community is that it is community. And we all have neighbors and people that live next door. You may not know them, but maybe you've noticed their cars never left. You know, that used to be that car would go somewhere. The car hasn't been gone for a couple of weeks. Or either just make a friend with the neighbor next door. You don't have to become their caregiver, but just check on your neighbors. You know, if you see something, it seems out of whack, just check on them, just knock on the door. Or maybe, Eric, I don't know if you want them to come by you and say, hey, you know, I haven't seen my neighbor go out in 3 weeks, and just let someone knock on the door and make sure that they're okay. So let's be the community that we say that we are, and just check. And if you need to make friends with your neighbor and say, look, if you go somewhere, just let me know. And if I go somewhere, I'll let you know. Okay, so we can be what we say that we are. That's it.
Thank you, Michelle. Just to follow up on that, the Tool resident was way beyond a financial situation. Since working over there and meeting some of the neighbors, that was a completely different situation. That was this individual that chose to isolate themselves from the community, did not answer the door when we went over there. Several times, Eric tried to make communication with him, and he would not answer. After we got in there, one of the items that he had resting against the front door was a 5-foot rusty rebar, probably a greeting tool. So that was a tragedy, I will agree. We have some on our, Eric, did you have something to say?
I was just to piggyback a little bit on what Michelle was saying about water usage. That goes for usage of anything like that. When we're in a situation, in business, when you're in a situation like we are, where there's a deficit, where a cost that we can't control now has gone up dramatically. There's only 2 ways for us to combat that. One is to reduce expenses, and the other is to increase revenue. Increasing revenue means increasing the assessment, essentially. So reducing expenses and the things that we have control over, like using a little less water, because if everybody uses a little less water, it adds up to a lot. Just like everybody uses a little more water, it adds up to a lot. So think about that. There's only 2 ways. increase revenue and reduce expenses. So anything we can do to reduce expenses without sacrificing the community, without sacrificing the landscaping and the things that we all like about the community so much. And that's it.
Thank you. Everybody comfortable in here? Is the temperature okay? Okay. Fans going, the air conditioner's working. I'm only mentioning this because a week or so ago, I was out riding around. It was about 10:30. The lights were on in here, so I came in to turn them off. I thought, whoa, it's a little bit on the chilly side. Went over to the thermostat. It was at a pleasant 72. So I saw the locking cover, and I okay, I'll have to adjust it somehow. And I touched it, and it fell off the wall because it's hanging on there by friction. It's all busted up. So that's one of the things that we need to take care of, and we'll probably put a programmable thermostat in here so it's very comfortable for everybody during the usage hours. But at 1 o'clock in the morning, perhaps we could jump it up a few degrees and then cool it off again before everybody arrives so that it's pleasant. That might save a little bit of our finances. Old business. Yes. Oh,
You're not gonna get by that.
we have the treasurer's report.
Oh, this is a little better. I just got the results back from our lake sample. I don't know, everybody may not be aware, but each month I take a water sample out and they have a testing facility out at the mosquito place out there. Yeah. So this time, and I keep the records on it all the time, and the phosphorus levels had been up, but since we've been having some rain, those levels have come down quite a bit. They're just about in half from where they were, so that's really good. The clarity of the water is starting to get better. It's because we've got a lot of that algae that was floating on the top. It was broke up by the water and pushed away. And that was not blue-green algae, even though some people may have thought it was. It's just an algae that's on the plants on the bottom of under the water, and fish and so forth get around that and it breaks loose. But they eat that also, and the birds also ate it. So it's good for the environment. It just doesn't really look good on the surface of the water. And one other thing I wanted on the lake is the dock out here. I've talked with Eric some on it. I've got a suggestion that I know you tore down the music stand out there, or whatever you call it, bandstand or whatever it was. Instead of building that one back, let's use the dock area and put that in with the Trex and so forth, and have that and some extra lighting put around that out there, where you can use it more for the band on the nights you want when you have the band. And because now it's basically not used for anything. So it would save the expenses of building the bandstand, plus we're gonna have to do something with the decking on the dock.
You're right, the dock is starting to show some age. We were kind of in agreement that the bandstand, it was kind of maybe a little on the ridiculous side to call it a bandstand. A piece of wood sitting over there might be a little bit better. But we need to take a look at that, and before we do anything with the dock, we'll see what we can do to maybe make that a little more multi-functional.
Well, the aging on the lake up here in the other end, where we have the riprap and so forth there, that's bad. that Williamson Brothers has a deal that they throw out now with that you can get a, what is it, 20 by
It's on the radio.
20 or something like that dock that they'll build for you, which we don't need a dock. All we need is just flooring for it, put back in place. So it's something to think about because we're gonna have to do something with that eventually up there, so.
Yes, and we have quite a few things going on here. We're gonna have to prioritize what items we jump into. Naturally, we have a lot of things going on here we need to take care of. The insurance holdup hasn't helped anything. All of us board members have passion for one thing or another, and we all have different personalities. We're all knowledgeable. Some are more analytical, and some are more of a driver. Let's get this thing done. And I agree with both aspects of it, but we need to spend our money wisely. Eric is our manager, and he is the lead on our bid situation. And if we have a contractor we want to get in here, we hear is good or whatever. I'm not talking to the community, I'm talking to the board members, just as we did with the lighting and the roofing. And Eric and 2 or 3 other board members will sit in on those discussions, and we'll determine what is the best avenue for the community as a group.
Just one last point too. Looking around, it seems like everything around here is okay and kind of like we're back from the hurricane and it's done over, but really we're only about 50% back from the hurricane. A lot of what has been repaired is temporary in lieu of this insurance while we wait. And there's a lot that needs to do. So everything looks good and feels good, but there's a lot of things that you don't see that do need to be taken care of. And those are the more larger expense items for the most part. So that's hopefully this insurance comes through with what we need for that.
And in a lot of cases, it's a combination of storm damage and age or depreciation to said item. So we don't have any old business to discuss or consider tonight, but we have a few old items that I want to bring up. I just talked about the bid situation. Mailing went out. I thought it went out to the entire community, but it went out to, we'll use the word violators, pots and those kind of items that were out. Tom says that most of those items have been addressed. Some of them obviously haven't been, so we will be on that. Eric, I would like you to post that letter on the bulletin board so everybody knows the nature of it. I feel it was a respectful letter asking for cooperation, no threats per se. John's not here, but we are concerned about safety. So when John talks about speeding, ring doorbells, it's not that we have some kind of threat going on in here. It's about safety and protection, awareness, so on, everything that goes along with that. Michelle Camp, ran into her up here, and I thanked her for the butterfly garden appearance. Michelle Locke. I'm so sorry. But hey, it's a jungle out there. There's butterflies all over the place. And the other day, I think that is the healthiest that I've seen that butterfly garden since I've been here or since it's been in existence. So thank you very much.
You might be our only landscaper doing a good job.
And one last item, Barb requested, something for the clubhouse here. And so we took care of that for you, Barb.
Perfect.
And you
Where's the food?
make it a little bit easier for bringing the food out, setting up, cleaning up, and storage inside that little room there,
Totally.
along with the storage bins. So, we go for the best here, Franklin. New business, do we have any new business listed on the agenda for the board to consider tonight?
We did not have anything listed.
I've got a comment, not really under new business, something we've talked about before. I noticed when I pulled up tonight, there was 5 or 6 golf carts out here. And there are some of us, notice I say us, parked on the grass because there wasn't quite room. Eric, are we gonna look into making a space? And I would suggest both on this end of the clubhouse and over near the dumpster there, either south of that area or like we talked about, just on this side.
We're looking at that. I mean, we want to do it, but it's one of those things, we have a lot of things we want to do. It's an idea that we've had for a while, but like I say, a lot of times we have ideas and we want to do them and they're great ideas, but we don't get to them for 2 or 3 years or sometimes longer than that. I think it's kind of going to be one of those, and most of the additions that are material additions like that, that's usually the way it works, but we'll know a lot more once we get our reserve study back and insurance information and all that stuff. Then we can kind of plan on what we're gonna do, but any kind of things that are optional, I think Bill would tell me to hold off for a while, so he knows what's going on.
And just looking at the demand on that aspect, when I moved in here, there was 2 golf carts. Actually, there was only 1 in the community, and then John Fricker bought his, so there was 2. And I know before all the seasonal folks left, I think we tallied up, there was 21 or 22 golf carts in here. And I know the parking on the south side here is a problem, especially if the golf carts take a car parking space. Then we don't have enough parking areas, so something to keep in mind there. We can, especially use that area south of the bags court and parking lot. So, thanks.
We've been considering that for a while, but is there anybody that would like to fine Tom for parking on the grass? Show of hands, anybody? Okay, yes, Tom.
I understand there's nothing written in the regulations about parking on the grass. So nobody can find Tom, as much as we'd like to.
Okay.
Put in it.
I have one thing to add, if you wouldn't care, about our toad, I'll call them toad persons. And Kathy Fox and Joan has been working, and I don't know who else has been with you all.
Don,
okay.
Jerry.
I want to thank you all for what you've done.
That's right.
And
My dog Baxter thanks you too.
especially for the dog owners, I mean, it's a lifesaver for those animals. And I think what she said last night, she went out by herself and I think, what's it, 230 now, the total? I think's what it is.
229.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and you wouldn't think that we had that many of them in here because I never seen any of them until my neighbor Andy started looking, and he would go out some nights and he'd get 25 and 30 at a time, and now evidently y'all doing a good job. So I think I just want to congratulate you all for what you do.
230.
230? I was thinking,
230, Kathy just posted it.
yeah, I was thinking,
We need
we
rain.
haven't had any rain, and that's what
We
brings
need
them
rain.
out. But we don't want them. That's a
Okay, before we adjourn the meeting, we'll take a few questions from the members regarding topics discussed during tonight's meeting. Anybody? Yes, please, come on up.
I have a question for Bill. You mentioned assessment in 2024. Is that assessment or an increase in dues?
The increase in dues.
No,
The
no,
assessment is the dues. That word assessment, special
It
assessment,
scares
it's not a
me.
special assessment.
If I said assessment, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't want one either. No, it's the dues are, they're gonna have to go up. And what they are at this point is, it's probably gonna be somewhere around 20%, but hopefully right at that, maybe a little less. And maybe, we don't know.
Donna? No?
I'll just sit right here. I'd just like to know, all these people that are in arrears, what is the policy or the rules as far as people being here in arrears? I mean, we pay all that, or do they get to always live here, or what's the policy for that?
So most of those people that are significantly in arrears are no longer with us, which is the typical thing. There's 4 on there. I know 2 or 3 of those are that, meaning they've passed on. So that's what makes that difficult if there's unknown heirs. Also, if there's a mortgage, there's a bank mortgage, it sometimes makes it difficult. But no, it stays with the unit and we try to collect all of it. And typically we do. The only time is if a bank takes ownership. They give you 1% of the mortgage or 1 year of dues, whichever is less. So it's not, so we'll try everything to get the bank to not be involved with it. But one of them that we have is going to probably be the bank involved. But the reason why we can't interfere is because the people are not alive. So we can't.
Doesn't that go against their?
It runs with the land. It runs with the land. So it goes with the unit. The next buyer would have to pay for it.
You can't put a lien into your estate?
There is no estate when they're.
Well, they own the house, they have the house.
We can't have a bunch of discussion out in the crowd there
Yeah.
because it doesn't go over YouTube and it doesn't get recorded for.
And we have to be careful with collections, but yeah, if somebody passes away and they have no family and they have no friends and they have nobody, we do extensive background checks and we try to find somebody and contact them. But if not, it does take a while for it to work. You have to appoint a guardian and it has to go through the whole court system and it takes some time. If the person has a mortgage on their house, we're not going to necessarily want to invest so much in legal fees and costs because it's going to add on to what we could lose at the end. Thankfully, most of the time, the people either catch it right up, or if they don't, we're able to do something like with the villa that Bob's working on. And that could be what happens with some of these, but,
So then when you're talking about people being in the rears, that would be somebody that has passed on and it's vacant, is that what you're saying?
those ones where they're significantly in the rears, the 4 that are significantly, yeah, at least 3 out of those 4. And one of them is going to be Bob's that he's working on. And then 2 other ones, the people are not alive. So one of them, we're working on something to try to figure it out, and then the other one, we need the bank to.
Skip, come on, up, stand
We were
up.
running
Something.
apartment buildings up in New York, we got paints for water. We put a brick in every toilet tank. We saved over 200,000 gallons of water.
Yeah, that's an old trick that they use. You don't want to change your
It
toilet.
doesn't change the pressure in the toilet, doesn't do anything, it just helps
Just takes
out.
up some of the volume, yeah.
The new toilets that are sold are a low volume toilet. They're not a super low volume. If you ever heard the story in San Francisco where they mandated to put the super low volume in, and they had a clog problem and ended up flushing out the sewer system with 5,000 gallons of chlorine. So you do have to have a little bit of water going down that drain. So do I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Hey, Skip. Thank you. I'm gonna put that in my little flyer.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, we got pinch for it, so.